All right, so we're diving into this King Harris situation, right? And it's interesting because
It's messy.
it is messy. It's messy, right? And everybody, our listeners are familiar with T.I., his whole thing.
Right, right.
So we're looking at this news report, and it's giving, kind of the breakdown of what happened. So we're talking about his son, King Harris,
19 years old.
19 years old, gets pulled over in Dunwoody, Georgia. Like, I don't know, have you ever even been to Dunwoody?
I have been through Dunwoody.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
It's not the place where you'd expect.
Not exactly a hotbed of,
Yeah, of crime.
But he gets pulled over after allegedly almost hitting a police car. Like, that's a bold move, leaving a gas station, almost hitting a police car.
Not the best way to start an interaction with law enforcement.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. And it doesn't end there, right? He doesn't just get a slap on the wrist, a ticket,
No.
a warning. This goes further. This is where it kind of elevates, right?
Yeah.
He gets taken to DeKalb County Jail.
Right.
Like, full-on, booked, mugshot.
Now, see, this is the thing. For people who aren't super familiar with how that all works, break down what that actually means for somebody in this situation. Mugshot included.
Yeah, so that ups the ante significantly, right? Because that means this is on his permanent record now. This isn't a speeding ticket you kind of, brush under the rug.
Yeah.
This is something that's going to follow him.
That's going to come up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he wasn't alone.
Right.
2 other people in the car. And during the search, they find 2 small bags of marijuana. So now it's getting even more complicated.
And here's where it gets really interesting. So 2 bags, right?
Yep.
One of his passengers gets a citation, a slap on the wrist, basically, for the marijuana, but doesn't get arrested.
Okay.
But King Harris is still in custody.
Interesting. So we have to ask, right, where's T.I. in all of this?
Right.
Because the article mentions reaching out to his representatives, but they're silent, which is kind of a big deal because he's been very vocal about certain things in the past, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this
Yeah.
is a guy who's waded into the social justice pool. He's talked about second chances, redemption.
Yeah.
And now you have a situation with his own son. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of his own image. Because this isn't even the first time he's been in hot water over, stuff with his kids.
Right. A few years ago,
Oh, yeah.
that whole controversy, his daughter.
Yeah, the comments about his daughter's virginity. Whether you agree with his stance or not, it blew up, right?
Huge.
And so this, regardless of how this plays out legally for King, it plays into this larger narrative about T.I., his family, and how they navigate the public eye.
So where do we even go from here, right? We have this incident, all these question marks. What happens next for King Harris, legally speaking?
All right, so legally, it's a bit of a guessing game at this point, but he could be facing anything from reckless driving to drug possession charges.
Depending on how they want to approach it.
Exactly. And local laws in Georgia. That could mean fines, probation, even jail time. It's going to be really interesting to see how his legal team handles this, especially with everybody watching.
Because now it's not just a legal battle, it's a PR thing, too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Everything is public. Every move is scrutinized.
Right.
It's a whole other layer to this case.
It's a lot. And we started with this arrest, right?
Yeah.
But it just spirals out.
It always does.
It does. Family dynamics, public image, legal system, we're going to be following it closely. But for our listeners, right, I want to leave you with this. Think about how much you think public perception, especially now with social media and everything, how much that influences the legal system and how this case will be handled.
It's a different world now.
It's a whole different ball game.
The court of public opinion matters.
Absolutely.